Ascending to the presidency with the assassination of John F. Kennedy, Lyndon B. Johnson was elected in 1964 over Barry Goldwater with the largest share of the popular vote since before there were actually two viable parties in America. But his second term was marred by his escalation of the Vietnam War. While the US was already there as part of its policy of containment in the Cold War, a series of unfortunate events that included the assassination of the South Vietnamese president 3 weeks before LBJ became president plunged the area into chaos. Fearing the political backlash over losing a war, Johnson lied about North Vietnamese attacks on US ships in the Gulf of Tonkin in 1964 as a pretext for dramatically increasing troops in the region in 1965, and with that came a dramatic increase in the draft. Americans were forced to deal with daily stories of troops coming home dead or wounded, live video footage showing the horrors of the war, a first for that time, and the constant fear that either they or one of their loved ones would get drafted. Hey, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today?" became a chant among anti-war protesters. There was also a dramatic rise in crime rates during this period, which led Johnson to declare war on crime, setting the early stages for what would become the war on drugs. The war on crime and Vietnam War fractured LBJ's base and led to the rise of the New Left, a coalition of young people who were anti-war and supported the counterculture movement. Johnson had already lost the traditional Southern bloc of the Democratic Party with his passage of the Civil Rights Act. His goodwill with minority communities also fell apart thanks to Martin Luther King Jr. and Cesar Chavez openly opposing the war, the FBI's open hostility to the civil rights movement, and the arrest of people like Muhammad Ali for evading the draft. The assassinations of Malcolm X and MLK only added to the chaos. After nearly losing the New Hampshire primary, LBJ chose not to be the Democratic nominee in 1968, but that only created more chaos for his party, as the wildly popular Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated in June of that year. The riots and protests at the '68 Democratic Convention in Chicago ended with LBJ's vice president, Hubert Humphrey, getting the nomination, but he lost the election to Richard Nixon. After LBJ's presidency, Republicans held the White House for 20 of the next 24 years. What's crazy is that despite the awfulness of his second term, LBJ still had an unusually high amount of legislative victories for any term in presidential history, including the Voting Rights Act, passage of Medicare and Medicaid, Higher Education Act, Clean Air and Water Acts, and Fair Housing Act. Those all still have a major impact on American life to this day.